don't believe it.
Yeah, we'll see then, all right? Is everything all right, Nancy?
Oh, yes, Mr. Mackenzie.
Very good. These things make me very nervous.
How do you think I feel? With my work on display. Well, mine and Ezekiel's, of course.
Excuse me.
What the hell are you doing here?
I thought I'd give the old man some support on his opening night. Isn't that what good sons do?
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention for just a moment, please. Thank you, darling. Thank you. First, I'd like to thank you all very much for coming tonight and for your continued support of the Mackenzie Maritime Trust. In just a moment, I'll be showing you the main display area where you'll see our newest and I think our most exciting exhibition, The Perils of the whaling era, and you'll get to see just exactly where your money's gone. But first, of course, a big thank you to the staff who've worked so very hard, so tirelessly to get this exhibition ship-shape, if you'll excuse the pun. And of course, a special thank you also to Ezekiel Friedman, humble as usual, who is unfortunately delayed. But knowing Ezekiel as we do, I'm sure he won't be too far away. And now, without further ado, yes, thank you, Ursula. Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Central 10. We have a deceased at this location. It appears suspicious. And we have central detectives, homicide and crime scene at 10. Central 10, copy that.
Retrieve the victim's wallet here. It's untouched by the look of it, Malcolm.
Well, given the MO, I think we can safely discount robbery as the motive.
Well, his belt is missing, if that helps.
That explains why his pants are around his ankles.
Look, Dee, take that here. Just watch your step there.
Yes, it's all right, Lance. I've had more hours on the deck of a ship than you've had hot dinners.
That must have hurt.
Yes. It's a grapnel.
The victim's name is Ezekiel Friedman. He was the curator of the Maritime Trust.
Do you have a time of death, Tootsie? Well, he's still warm. There's no stiffness in the neck, few hours, no more.
Tonight was a sneak preview of the Trust's new exhibition, sponsors only. I've already asked for a copy of the guest list.
All right, let's get him down.
Okay.
Lance, just take the weight.
Very good, Imogen.
Thanks, fellas.
You know, the hat, the pants around the ankles. Killer obviously wants to humiliate him.
Which begs the question, did he die here in the boat, or was he put here later?
No, out of here, please. No, not now. Excuse me, can I let the guests go home now? They're giving your chaps their names.
Sir, this is Detective Vance and Hayden. I'll help you.
Lionel Mackenzie, I'm the trust sir.
Just through here, sir, please. Yeah, please, thank you.
All right.
When was the last time you saw your father alive, Mr. Friedman?
Zach. That would have been about 3 o'clock, I guess. He was running some last-minute checks on the exhibition.
Did you speak to him then?
No. Everyone was steering clear of Dad for the last few days.
Why was that?
He got very stressed. I mean, it's understandable, really. He works very hard for the museum and they depend on him a lot.
Was there any particular reason why he'd be stressed today?
Oh, even if there was, he wouldn't have told us.
Who's us?
My father was wonderful with the patrons, but not so wonderful with the staff.
You work here, do you?
Yeah, part-time. I do the trust. I do the accounts for the trust.
Can you think of anyone who might do your father any harm, Zach?
I mean, certainly there were people that didn't like him. But I mean, to do this to him? Oh, you'd really have to hate him, wouldn't you?
Zach told you I didn't like Ezekiel, did you? How would you describe your relationship with the deceased, Miss Costas?
There was no relationship, Detective, which I suppose puts me in the minority.
How's that?
Ezekiel and I were supposed to be equals here. I'm more qualified than he is, but he was the Trust's hero.
And why was that?
He had the gift of the gab. He was able to get an audience to start writing donation checks so fast you could hardly keep up sometimes. But he used his skills to feather his own nest whenever possible.
You mean that he took money from the Trust?
No. Ezekiel was far more interested in sexual favours than monetary ones, which is why I was in the minority.
Excuse me, Marilyn.
Yes?
Sorry to interrupt. The other detective asked for a copy of the guest list, would you know?
May I? Can I go now?
Miss Costas, do you know of anyone who would want to harm Mr. Friedman?
I'd like to plead the fifth on that.
It's a good option to have, isn't it?
Ezekiel was such a wonderful man. Smart and funny. If you'd heard him speak.
What time did the party start, Miss Bridges?
6. Well, the first guests arrived about 15:15. Mr. Mackenzie and his wife Amanda, they were here already, of course.
And you?
Zach, Marilyn, myself, we're here most of the day. On and off.
And, Elsa, you were Mr. Friedman's personal secretary?
Well, not exactly. I worked for him and Marilyn. But Ezekiel was nice to me. He didn't care I didn't have a university degree. He just liked me.
Elsa, is this a list of everyone who was here tonight?
No. Ezekiel's youngest son, Simon. He wasn't actually invited, but he showed up anyway.
Did you see what time he left?
No, I didn't. Things got pretty hectic.
Why wasn't Simon invited in the first place? The victim's elder son was.
There'd been some trouble between Simon and Ezekiel.
Yes?
I'm not sure what, but when he started calling last week, Ezekiel, he got quite upset.
How often did he call?
Every day. Sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. Do you think that's important?
Could be.
I'm perfectly all right.
Detectives, I'm going to take my wife home now, if that's all right.
No, I'm afraid we will need to speak to both of you.
He was just sitting there with that thing sticking out of him like a...
All right, darling.
You saw him, Lionel, you saw it.
Please, can we just go?
We'd appreciate it if you come down to homicide first thing in the morning. Give us your statement,
Of course.
sir.
It's like a beached whale.
Yes, darling.
I mean, he was like a big beached whale.
Amanda, we're going home. Thank you. Good night.
Look, I found something that might be of interest to you two.
Welcome to the storeroom, landlubbers.
Stick to the edge. If you could, watch the floor. Now, I located drag marks on the floor near the boat. You have a look at this. See that? Those drag marks come from here.
So the murder took place here?
Well, I believe so, and the body has been dragged from here downstairs.
Oh, the victim wasn't small. You had to be pretty strong to drag him all the way down there and then lift him into the boat. Must have been more than one perpetrator.
Well, I can't rule out the possibility that there was someone else involved, of course, but there's no evidence to support that at this stage.
Well, it's unlikely that the party guests would have had access to this room.
Yeah, this doesn't make sense.
Now, what's that, Hayden?
The victim had an iron grapnel through his stomach. Where's the blood?
Very perspicacious of you, Hayden. Now, I have scanned this room with a polylight. No blood in this room.
Well, could you have been wrong about the drag marks? I mean, is it possible that that went from the body at all, that something else was dragged from here down there for the exhibition.
Yeah, well, that was my first thought, but given that I also found this D, the belt.
Is this the victim's
The
belt?
victim's belt.
So, what's your thinking?
Leave that one to Imogen.
The abdominal wound was not the cause of death.
Oh, really?
In fact, the grapnel was thrust into the abdomen long after the victim was already dead.
Ah, well, that would explain the lack of blood in the storeroom then.
Would you like to try for the trifactor and give me a time of death as well?
Oh, no. You're the captain here, Imogen.
Sometime between 2 and 4 p.m. yesterday afternoon.
Right, well, that rules out most of the party guests. They didn't arrive until after 6.
Do you have an actual cause of death?
Yep. Strangulation. There are very faint ligature marks around the neck and some slight bruising beneath the jaw, which may or may not be related.
Could it be rope? There was a whole lot of rope in the storeroom where he died.
No. It's more likely the killer used something made of finer material, something more like a man's tie. And another thing, there's evidence of damage to the wall of the carotid sinus.
What does that mean?
It was massaged. When you apply pressure to this area here below the jaw, it stimulates a little nerve receptor which slows the heart and can, potentially, cause a cardiac arrest.
Who'd know that?
Oh, well, somebody with a medical background, obviously.
Yes, certain martial arts exponents as well.
So our victim was knocked out with this carotid massage, then strangled, and then had a grapnel shoved through his gut.
Killer wanted to make sure he was dead.
Yeah, really.
And
Look what we found.
What's that?
Dark fibres.
what between his teeth?
Wish we got outside. Crime scene in a field?
Outside, in a field, with a body. You don't think that's a little bizarre to want that?
That's the job.
Simon Friedman?
I didn't even know he was dead until my brother told me this morning.
But you were at the party last night?
For a while.
What time did you get there?
I don't know, about 6, I guess.
Where were you before that?
At home.
Anyone verify that?
No, I guess not.
Why did you leave the party?
Because if I heard one more word about how damned wonderful my father was, I'd have thrown up.
Simon, we've heard that you and your father had a bit of a falling out. Is that true?
I've had some personal problems. I lost my job about 6 months ago, and I've been away. Look, what's this got to do with my father's death?
You started calling him a week ago.
And now he's dead. Well, that's what you're getting at, isn't it? Look, I called Dad because I have an inheritance from my grandfather which he's been managing for me. I wanted it.
Did you get it?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
My father spent it on his women.
Did that make you angry,
Of
son?
course I was angry, wouldn't you be?
Would you stick a grapnel in your father's stomach just because he stole money from you?
Seen worse for less.
Did this guy have humiliation?
Okay, what do we got? All right, Ezekiel Friedman was murdered here, dragged down through here, and placed in the boat here.
Drags, you think the killer was a male?
They had to be pretty strong.
One of the fibres found in the dead man's teeth. Now, this gives us a clear indication of what made the ligature marks around his neck.
Not a tie?
No.
So what is it? A scarf?
No, a pair of stockings.
Really?
Now, we're talking fine silk here, 15 denier. They're expensive. The woman who wore these is very classy indeed.
Mrs. Mackenzie, when was the last time you saw Ezekiel Friedman alive?
It was yesterday afternoon, about 2:30, 3 o'clock. I'd called into the trust to check on last-minute arrangements for the night.
Did you and Ezekiel talk at that time?
Briefly.
And where did you go after you left?
Oh, I don't know. Home, to get ready for the party. Look, I'd been out and about most of the day. There was a lot to organise.
Mrs. Mackenzie, when you saw Mr. Friedman in the afternoon, what did you talk about?
We talked about why I wouldn't see him anymore.
Were you and Mr. Friedman lovers?
We had a brief affair, yes. I put an end to it when things got out of control.
What exactly do you mean by out of control, Mrs. Mackenzie?
Ezekiel liked to experiment sexually. He loved the idea that someone might see us having sex. We almost got caught at the trust on the weekend, and I started to worry that Lionel might find out.
Obviously, your husband didn't know about this affair, did he?
No, God, no.
And how did Mr. Friedman react when you told him the affair was over?
I don't think he was used to being dumped by a woman. It was usually the other way around.
Did you argue?
I wouldn't call it an argument. It was more... Well, it wasn't pleasant, but it wasn't an argument. Look, can I go now? Lionel's waiting for me at the trust. We have a lot of work to do.
Mrs. Mackenzie, we actually will need to know what sort of sexual experimentation you and Mr. Friedman engaged in.
Oh, you've got to be joking.
Well, quite a repertoire. Bondage apparatus, exhibitionism.
I had a friend who liked to have sex on trains. Apparently peak hour.
Well, it is possible that this is a sex game gone wrong.
Hard to see how a grapnel through the stomach could be called foreplay, Mel.
We know that the grapnel came after, but as to the hanky-panky before...
Right. OK, I'm going to check out the victim's apartment, see what else I can find, all right?
You know, Amanda Mackenzie seemed very concerned about her husband finding out about the affair.
She has no alibi.
Well, if she was right and things really were getting out of hand, maybe Lionel Mackenzie did know.
Back to the trust.
Yep.
Have a sniff around the victim's office while you're there. A man who would steal the inheritance from his own son might be the sort of person that has financial difficulties.
Oh, Detective Vance, what can I do for you?
You all right?
I should be fine, Detective. It hasn't been a pleasant time for any of us.
No. I was wanting to speak to Lionel Mackenzie, if he's around.
No, he isn't. He's due in later. I can take a message if you like.
That'd be good. Could you tell him that I'd like to speak to him, please?
Have you found anything yet?
No, we're still gathering information.
I was up half the night, you know, trying to figure out who could have done something like this.
It's still early days. I need to see your father's office, if that's all right.
Oh, whatever.
I think Marilyn has the key.
Can I help you, Detective?
She'd like to see Ezekiel's office.
Certainly. This way.
Thank you. I'll be there in a minute. Elsa, could you tell me if Ezekiel had a girlfriend or a lover at all?
No one. Why?
Detective, this way.
Are you looking for anything in particular?
No. It just sometimes helps to get an idea of a person. Zach, did you handle your father's financial affairs as well as the trusts?
I did for a while, yeah.
Not anymore?
My father doesn't take advice very well. I decided it wasn't best to mix family and business.
And you didn't mention that your brother Simon was at the party last night. Why was that?
I don't know. Oh, look, Simon and my father had their problems, but Simon would never hurt my father. I mean, Dad loved Simon despite everything. He thought the sun shone out of his backside. You know, it's always the way, isn't it? The one that gives you the most trouble is the one who gets all your attention.
Come on, loves. This was the knot. Now the rabbit goes around the tree trunk and back down the rabbit hole. Now pull. Oh, Sergeant.
Don't believe you know how to tie that knot at all.
Look, just try it again.
Your rabbit's got the Khaleesi virus.
For God's sake, I'm going to get us another drink.
Yeah, nothing's turned up in Ezekiel's personal files, but I've requested to have his finances accessed. How did you got the apartment?
Oh, I couldn't get in. Key wasn't the key ring we found on the body.
Well, this is Ezekiel's apartment.
Yeah.
Do you think the killer took it?
Well, I couldn't think of any other reason why it wasn't with the others, you know. But I've tracked down the real estate agent. He'll let us in.
Maybe something in the apartment identified the killer.
Oh, excellent. I got it.
Well done, Constable. Terrific.
We're missing something here?
Yeah, possibly. Look, I'll be going over the victim's apartment tomorrow when we get the key, see if anything comes up.
That's a bowline.
I told the police, Lionel. I told them all about it.
What did you say?
Go home now, son.
I'm nearly finished.
You can finish tomorrow.
And do you want to know something? You want to know something that makes me really happy? I'm glad that they know.
Well, Amanda, it's not as if we're talking about the neighbours here. You've told the police, for God's sake. Now I'm going to go into there and have to make some explanations, and that is not going to be pleasant. It's the middle of the bloody night, for God's sake.
What's up?
You two have a visitor. Lionel Mackenzie says that there's something that he needs to set straight with you.
Mr. Mackenzie?
Detectives, I had no idea Amanda was coming to see you this morning. We had agreed we'd come in together.
You have a problem, sir?
Well, it's just that my wife's a little, she can be a little neurotic. I wouldn't want you getting the wrong impression. It was purely a professional argument, nothing more. You could ask anyone. Ezekiel and I, we argued all the time. Well, all right, I might have hit him, but completely out of character, I assure you.
Are you saying that you assaulted Mr. Friedman?
She lied to me, didn't she? Amanda, she didn't tell you anything about the fight at all?
No, sir, she did not.
Lionel?
Just a read.
Right.
What did you and Ezekiel argue about, Mr. Mackenzie?
Well, he thought everyone around him was stupid. You couldn't have a conversation with Ezekiel. He lectured and you listened.
So you argued about his attitude. That was it?
Yes. He was arrogant and I said so. I told him the people around him weren't nearly as stupid as he thought they were.
And how did he react to that?
Well, he just smiled at me. So I hit him.
Mr. Mackenzie, were you aware of the relationship between Mr. Friedman and your wife?
Well, yes. Of course I was. But they didn't know that I knew, of course. I mean, Amanda nearly had a heart attack this afternoon when I told her that I'd known all along.
So you knew about the relationship and you didn't confront either of them about it?
Well, I wanted to fire him, of course. Nothing would have given me greater pleasure.
So why didn't you?
Well, Ezekiel was keeping the trusts alive. He was bringing the money in. I couldn't afford to lose it. Detective, I'm not like Ezekiel was. I'm neither exciting nor charismatic. Amanda, however, well, she's a different proposition entirely.
What do you think you're doing, Simon?
You and I need to talk.
The victim's financial records. Ezekiel Friedman might have been on a good wage, but he spent money faster than he earned it. Now, here's one thing of particular interest. A deposit. $40,000.
Someone liked him?
You lent Ezekiel the money?
He needed it to pay a tax bill or something. He was going to pay it back. And then, Yesterday I heard Zach telling Marilyn about Ezekiel's will. When I asked Zach about my money, he said there wasn't any.
And that's why you were crying yesterday?
I'm sorry. It's just that it's all the money I had. My mother left it to me.
Elsa, why did you lend Ezekiel so much money in the first place?
He was so good to me. You know, he gave me a job years ago and no one wanted to know about me. And when my mother was so sick, he let me have as much time off as I needed. I was happy to help him out for once.
Elsa, the day Ezekiel died, did you have any idea you wouldn't be getting your money back?
No. He said he'd give it back to me this week after the exhibition had opened. I didn't even think about it until after he was dead. I should have listened to my mother. Neither a lender nor a borrower be, she used to say.
Elsa, Ezekiel had a set of keys on him when he died. Can you think of any reason why the key to his apartment wouldn't be there?
No. No reason at all.
Lending your boss $40,000 certainly puts a whole new slant on industrial relations, doesn't it?
Hope Thorne doesn't have any financial problems. Hey? Ezekiel Friedman wrote out a cheque for $10,000 a fortnight ago.
Maybe he wanted to buy a new sex toy.
Why does a man who has to steal money from his own son write out a cheque for $10,000?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe to pay for this.
What?
San Cristobal, what's that? What, is that Spanish? San Cristobal?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a place or a person? San Cristobal.
You love this, don't you?
What?
Getting to know these people. Dead guy in his underwear, his lover, her husband.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Aren't you interested in what draws people together?
Yeah. I bet when you were a kid, you loved turning over rocks just to see what would crawl out from underneath them.
Yes, I did, as a matter of fact.
Too many snakes where I lived.
Yeah.
Just like this lot. Put them on a desert island, I reckon they'd kill each other before the week was out.
At least the sex would be good.
Oh, darling, you're so sexy when you're angry. Forgiven.
Simon. Come on, pick up the phone.
Police! Stop right there! You're under arrest for possession of a prohibited drug. Believe it. They move! Hands down, go on. Take it! Get him in this way. Come on! Get up against the wall! Up there! Go on! Get up there! Take my wallet! Well, take my wallet, why don't you? Go on, take my shirt! Go on! Take it, why don't you? Do you want it? Take it! Take it all!
Take everything. Wrong.
It's the only logical thing to do. Marilyn's more than qualified to take over Ezekiel's duties.
Sure. Marilyn knows her stuff. But come on, let's face it, she's no public speaker. She can't make the history come alive the way Ezekiel could.
Hello? I am actually in this room.
You know it's the truth.
Well, I've never been given the chance. Ezekiel always wanted the limelight for himself.
Well, look, the point is this.
The point is, Lionel, that my father, whether we like it or not, was an extremely popular man.
Yes, that's right.
Well then, let's make a virtue of the situation. We hold a fundraiser in memory of Ezekiel Friedman.
Sort of a testament to all his hard work over the years. Well, that has some merit. It would probably make even more money.
Yes, but doesn't help us with who's going to be in charge of the public duties.
Well, if it isn't me, then who do you suggest? You?
No.
Why not?
It's me, Zach. There's a call for you. It's about Simon.
These blokes arrested him this morning for possession. According to the Drug Enforcement Agency, Simon bought a supply of cocaine on the day of his father's murder.
Well, why wasn't he arrested then?
Well, the DEA was more interested in the dealer that he scored it off.
He would have been higher the night he went to the Trust exhibition.
Oh, a fair bet that he was. We got in touch with a former employer. Apparently, young Simon snorted a promising career on the stock exchange.
Right. Okay, let's see what he's got to say for himself.
I did a few lines of coke when I went to the Trust. If I'd been straight, I'd never have gone there.
What time did you get to the party?
Like I said before, about 6.
You sure about that time? Like you didn't get there early to try and talk to your father about your money?
Well, what the hell does it matter now? I'm screwed either way, right? Okay, at about 4 o'clock, I went to see him. I knew he'd be stressed out about the exhibition preview, so I figured that was the best chance of getting my money. I was trying to get my life back together. At first, I couldn't find him, but then I heard a noise coming from the storeroom, and when I got closer, I could hear my father begging someone to do it.
To do what with whom?
It was a woman. My father would never beg a man to do anything, but before you ask, I don't know who it was.
Did you get to talk to your father?
No, I left. The last thing I was in the mood for was perving on my father having sex.
What did you do after you left?
I did a few more lines and I went back about half an hour later and he was dead. In the storeroom, he was dead, and I knew there was no chance of ever getting a cent out of him.
Simon, did you put the grapnel in your father's stomach?
I dragged him to the boat, and I sat him there so that all his little followers would see him for what he really was, a lying, scheming, sex-mad bastard. Sit down. I stuck the grapnel in him. I shoved it right in. Well, he gutted me, hadn't he? Well and truly. But, he was already dead. I didn't kill him.
Did you take the key to your father's apartment, Simon?
No, there was nothing of his I was the least bit interested in.
Why did you go back to the party that night?
He'd always told me what a loser I was. I wanted everyone to see what a loser he was.
What did you tell them?
The truth. Well, sometimes the truth isn't always what's best. Don't say anything to anyone until I get you a lawyer.
So if Simon's telling the truth, we're dealing with 2 crimes here. We're dealing with the actual murder, and then we're dealing with the post-mortem attack on the body, which Simon's just admitted to.
His story does fit in with the autopsy report.
So the killer left Ezekiel in the storeroom where he died.
Therefore, the killer is either the woman that was with Ezekiel in the storeroom or jealous husband.
Either way, whoever killed him has got that missing apartment door key. Find out who's got that, you got your killer.
Hey, Sergeant. This Ezekiel guy loved his toys. Look at this.
Turn it off, Constable.
What about these ones? Oh, I love this. Look at this.
Just treat it as a crime scene, Dee. Treat it as a crime scene.
Just pop it down there for you. Okay? I wasn't sure what this one was for. Sergeant knew, though.
Really?
I've worked on a number of sexually motivated crimes in my life, Detective. Hardly surprising I've picked up a bit of knowledge on the subject.
Hardly surprising.
Also, we found strands of hair, blonde, brunette and red-haired, in both the drain trap of the shower and the bedroom. Now, by their length, we are assuming that they belong to women.
Oh, there's no great shocks there, given what we know about the victim.
Word you have it anyway.
Fisk, Mayor,
Yes, indeed.
Steve.
Turisticos de Isla San Cristobal. That's what the cheque was made of.
Ah, Los Galapagos son magnificos. Best seafood in the world.
Yeah.
Turquoise waters, dream of a place.
Looks like Mr. Friedman shared your dream. He bought himself a charter boat in the Galapagos Islands.
Well.
We look forward to meeting you at the end of next month. Blah, 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 blah.
He was leaving the country.
No wonder he had to borrow money from his secretary to pay off the tax bill. Can't leave the country with a bill like that. Thanks, Fisk.
You're welcome.
Do you think Lionel Mackenzie was aware that his star fundraiser was deserting him?
Turquoise waters, dream of a place.
What's that?
Oh, that's the real estate agent I had to ring to get access to Ezekiel's apartment. Any luck?
The real estate agent said that a couple came and looked at a unit a few weeks ago. They came back a second time. He thought he had a sale. The man fits Ezekiel's description.
A woman?
She fell in love with the place.
Ezekiel Friedman thought he could walk all over Lionel and me. I will not let you labour under the same misapprehension.
And I've spent years being shoved around by him, and I'm not about to take it from you.
No, that's enough. The last time I looked, it was my name on the deeds to this trust, and I'm going to make all decisions to do with its future. Is that clearly understood?
Lionel.
Now, you cut it out. That simpering little girl act might have turned Ezekiel's head inside out, but it does nothing for me.
Mr. Mackenzie,
What do you want?
that was Zach. He won't be back today.
Or why the hell not?
Simon's been arrested.
Oh, that's just marvellous.
I knew he was trouble. I just knew it.
Calm down,
I will
Amanda.
not calm down. You haven't been through what I've been through. Simon threatened me. He said he'd tell the police that I killed Ezekiel unless I gave him money.
You're just being hysterical.
Say that again.
You're just jealous because Ezekiel would have nothing to do with you. He knew you were frigid and self-centered and had about as...
Oh, for goodness sake!
We're not interrupting anything, are we?
Detectives, can we help you?
Yes, one of you can.
Here.
So you hid the key to Ezekiel's apartment in the place you were going to buy together?
We were going to live here. That's what we talked about. We're going to have breakfast together on this balcony every morning.
Were you in love with Ezekiel?
I thought all my dreams had come true. A man I loved in an apartment that was everything I could ever want.
And what happened, Elsa?
He asked me to lend him the money to put a deposit on a boat. We were going to moor it there and go sailing.
And then you found out that that wasn't true?
It was to pay a tax bill. He told me I wasn't getting my money back. That he was leaving. He'd bought a charter boat business overseas. And then all he could think about was having sex. He took everything away from me. Took away my dream. So he could have his. As my mother always said, she who laughs last, laughs loudest.
Apparently, Ezekiel Friedman had a sexual fantasy no woman had been willing to fulfill. He wanted to be strangled while having sex.
Yeah, it's supposed to intensify the orgasm, apparently. Well, done properly.
I'm beginning to think that I've led a very sheltered existence.
Anyway, when Elsa realised what Friedman was up to, she used his fantasy against him, then took the key, went to his apartment and removed anything that might connect her to him.
The bruise below the jaw?
Carotid massage.
Yeah, it was a little trick that Ezekiel had shown him months ago so that he could render anyone unconscious within seconds and then do what he wanted with them.
She must have been a very good student.
And our victim was his own worst enemy. Yes!
Sorry. Just a bowline. Not done it. Now I can sleep.
Have you almost finished?
Have you ever had a dream?
Yes.
I don't mean wanting a holiday. I mean, but a real dream, something that drives you on.
No, I believe firmly in living in the present.
Even when your present is full of that? I have this vision in my head of a homestead on the side of a cliff face, overlooking a valley of green, horses, cows, and not another person for miles.
Sounds very nice.
You'd hate it.
Not bizarre enough. You'd miss the dead bodies.
Probably would.